Before this video begins, I'd like to say that this is a review about films, about top favorite things and least favorite things, and whatever film's rated in the British Board Film Classification, the Motion Picture Association of America rates similar to it. United in the BBFC, it's a U, MPAA G, United Kingdom PG, United States PG suggested. And then United Kingdom is 12, the United States is PG-13, United Kingdom is 15, the United States is R restricted, and United Kingdom 18, and the United States is NC-17. And another thing that I'm not sure if the United Kingdom has anything similar to is unrated. You'll know some films that says unrated. Now we begin. This film I'm going to begin off is rated 15, The Matrix. The reason I'm doing this, even though it's an old film released in 1999, I just decided to stick to favorite things and least favorite things. Anybody agrees to do that on YouTube, I'm fine with that. It has Neo and Trinity and Morpheus, the three main characters of the film, doing the Santas cipher, which of course you know betrayed Morpheus's group. It has and back then, and I remember the casting names on the top of the case: Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, The Matrix. It's a 15, and this type of case is kind of like this thing that you flip over, which we'll go over later. The side and Warner Brothers Entertainment. The back technically there's only one image of Neo dodging the bullet and plot info about the film. And the credits from the distribution name all the way up to the director's name. The site to go to, of course, I don't think that anyone's interested to do so. Copyright info, rated 15, and yeah. You technically open it like this, and it has a scene section shot, and Trinity is doing her effect. And so far, it's like a majority of 38 of them. Of course, you think credits do not count. And the disc is plain silver. And it says The Matrix, Warner Home Video, Digital hard disc. This I think means color. 15 in the UK, 18 in the Republic of Ireland, 1999 in Warner Brothers Entertainment. Copyright infringement unintended. Or do not do piracy on it. Now, let's stick to some things I don't get. Let's stick to some things I did kind of. Let's stick to the strange parts, though. The only strange part I know is that when the agents caught Neo, in the interrogation scene, they stuck kind of like a scourge creature into his navel, even though I don't know why that spot, even though in the Animatrix, which I don't have that film at all, or you call a non-animated episode film, whatever you want to call it. The detective guy in the detective story has it in his eye, even though why didn't they think of putting it anywhere else in Neo other than just in his navel? And when I first saw the idea when Neo woke up after the mirror. After he touched the mirror and all that mirror color began going through his head, and I was like, where the hell is he? But then I realized he's actually in the pod. And I did not know what this was until Morpheus revealed what it was. And when Morpheus was captured, I don't get what the agents put. You know, like a needle injection you have for like vacancies or something. The agents put something in Morpheus' head, and I don't know what that stuff is. I think because I think it's because they're trying to invest Morpheus into telling the truth about the Axis Code Zion's mainframe. But technically, Morpheus might be strong enough to fight the corruption into him. And the puzzles thought, and a few puzzled things were what about when they implanted it is when Neo and Trinity were saving Morpheus, they implanted a bomb in on the elevator, and when they cut it down, they blew up the ground floor. One thing that troubled me is didn't they think about what if they burnt down the rest of the street? Like not just the ground floor of the building they entered to rescue Morpheus, but the rest of the ground on the street. And I'll come back to more when I think. And another thing is that it's one of the sarcastic characters, Mouse, never showed up anywhere in the Matrix except for his final time to live, when Neo was then requested to meet the Oracle. Well, Mouse only showed up in the Matrix once, and still that time, when he was trapped in the agents, his SWATs took him, and then the agents attacked him. The SWATs shot him down. So technically that seems to be unfair. Like, of course, there was another guy named. Of course, I don't know who Mouse is portrayed, but I don't know who Mouse is portrayed by. But I do know that after this film, they had another guy comparable to him named Kid, played by Clayton Watson, I think his name is. And he kind of saves a new level. I think he debuted in the Animatrix before it reveals when he got out of the Matrix and wakes up in the real world. The only thing about him is that he never showed up in the Matrix. He doesn't show up in the Matrix much in a live-action film. The Animatrix is the only time he's in the Matrix, but that's when he's trapped in the, those parts I mentioned about Neo waking up. Those human the human hibernation pods, where these gigantic tubes were placed around his spine and his arms and his legs, I think, and the back of his head, which I did not know. Which speaking of that, there was like a socket. When they pinned a socket into Neo's back, I was like, what are they doing to him? Originally, I thought they were drilling through his arms. But then when I watched it again, I then paid attention to they were pinning a socket to the back of his head. And I was like, what for? But it was to hack. It was that way he would enter into the Matrix. He would enter into the Matrix to fight evil there. They got our recliner chairs, which have kind of like these gigantic, sharp electrical little pins that has to be attached to the head. And the first start, the fact you're not experienced enough, it extremely hurts though, and then until they're loaded up, it takes a lot of time until you get used to it. Of course, that won't happen because I don't think the Matrix is the top brand out there, since there are more new things going on out there. And I might move into the good, and I might move into the favorite parts, which, of course, if I am missing any weird parts that you guys saw in this film, I'm sure I apologize. I haven't caught any attention about it. And now to the good parts. The good part is that Neo is trained how to become a fighter. What I liked about that's what I liked about the beginning of things. They always train the characters how to become fighters. And the favorite part was destroying the agents' headquarters when rescuing Morpheus. The funny thing, and the first thing I saw was funny. Of course, I know it's because of the fire, the burning down the ground floor. Is that because the fire extinguisher rained in the place where rained on the top floors. And when I first saw it, I was like, are they supposed to be funny? But then, actually, I found out it was fire. But then, when I was old enough to understand, it was like fire. It was actually fire extinguishers that were pouring down the ground floor, pouring down the top floors, even though the ground floor was the one on fire. My favorite part about being in the Matrix world is when you first watch it, you get to destroy everything you want in that world. So, and the favorite thing about Neo is that during when he then decides to rescue Morpheus, he then begins to understand about Morpheus's feelings, to believe in things, and Neo decides to help him. And during the transition, when he saved Trinity, he still doesn't know, but the former operator Tank knows, is that it concludes that he has become the one. At first, the Oracle told him he wasn't, but then when he rescued Trinity, Tank found out he is. And when Agent Smith shut the phone booth when Trinity got out, when they begged him to run, he couldn't. The reason he could, which I know why, because he turned into an equal competitor with Agent Smith, and that's what led the both to become equal rivals at each other in this film and the two others, which I might stick to the least and top favorite things about in Reloaded and Revolutions. And another favorite part about this is when Morpheus begins to tell Neo about a man born inside, which I think he's talking about the Architect. The Architect is the guy who said to create the Matrix, which he's first mentioned in the first part of the Second Renaissance, the Animatrix, made his debut appearance in Matrix Reloaded, sitting in his recliner, which we'll go over about that film later, and in Revolutions, which we'll go over about that later. And in the beginning, technically, the only primary character out of the three that first talked is the only primary character out of these three are technically Trinity. Of course, the first character to talk in the beginning of the film was him, as you guys seen it, and he does not show up until after her scene in the beginning half of the film, where he follows the White Rabbit, and he first pulled off his voice during when she was on a phone call with him in the beginning of the film, and he first showed up after they got rid of the scourge of Neo's after Trinity used the machine to get rid of the scourge off Neo's navel. I don't know what that scourge was supposed to do, even though the agents said to ask Neo to apprehending Morpheus. I think the scourge is to mean that those ear things the agents carry, they use that so that they could transfer themselves into the people that the people that are still not freed in the Matrix. So I do recommend watching such an old classic film in 1999. So I do recommend watching this old classic film in 1999, and because of the special effects style. Oh, and I'm signing off.